let's go to the lines once again at 641-1010. Mill is on the west side and now on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Mill.
Good morning. How y'all guys doing today?
Excellent, man. What's up?
Okay, so my question is, are we familiar with any teams that's, whether it's been last year or maybe the last few years, any teams that's kind of been giving Miami a tough time? And should we follow the recipe of what those teams did?
Fair question.
It's a great question, and I went back and was just looking at some of the scores last year, and because you want to watch a game that somebody had success against Miami's offense. The New England game kind of comes to mind because they kept the Miami Dolphins to a relatively low score. The Eagles game, the Philadelphia Eagles won, and they held the Miami Dolphins, I think, to like 17 points, somewhere in that range. So, I mean, those are a couple games I think that you'd want to take a look at.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we could get the temperature below freezing, we could do what Kansas City did to them in the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah, we're still in the warm weather area when I was dialing up
I don't
these
think
games.
we'll have that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're Ryan Nielsen. You're obviously watching that film, right,
Sure.
to see what disrupted Tua last year.
You're gonna watch every game that you can to see what worked, and then also you're gonna look at the games to see what didn't work to make sure that you don't end up making some of the same mistakes.
Miami ended the season, by the way, last year. Now, there's some pretty good defenses involved here. They scored 22 against the Cowboys and a 22-20 win. Not a crazy total. They scored 19 in a blowout loss to the Ravens. They scored 14 in a loss to the Bills.
Yeah, Bills played really well against
and then they wrapped up the season in the wild card round by scoring only 7 against Kansas City. And granted, that was, again, but it wasn't like they ended the season as a juggernaut offensively. No. Problem is, we're not playing them at the end of the season.
No, playing them when they were really
they got off to a pretty hot start last year.
Yeah, and as it was a big talking point when they got to the end of the season last year, they don't beat teams with winning records. That's been the Miami thing for a number of years now. They've been a playoff team or right there on the edge of a playoff team, but they haven't been very good against other playoff teams when everything is said and done. That doesn't come into play all that much in week 1 of a regular season. That's something you look back at the end of the year and say, well, Jacksonville was or wasn't a playoff team. How'd they do against the Dolphins? You look back in memory at that kind of thing. But I expect the Jaguars to be a playoff team this year. And it's part of the reason why when we get to our picks on Friday, I'm going to pick them to beat Miami.
I am too.
Right? That's what I'm going to wind up doing because I do expect that kind of trend to hold for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they're nearly as good against the better teams on their schedule. I think Jacksonville is one of the better teams on their schedule.
I think that another good thing, too, is that Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have not practiced a lot lately. So
just really on Monday came back to practice together for the first time in a little while.
Yeah, so you feel pretty good about it, because you go back and Tua was asked, I think, about OBJ a couple weeks ago about the chemistry, and he's like, I haven't had it, don't have any.
How would we know?
Right. Haven't practiced together with him. Well, you haven't practiced together with Tyreek with a thumb, and then Jalen's also had an issue that was undisclosed as well. So are they going to be a little off? I mean, you might think so, but I like that. I'd rather have them coming in having not practiced a lot all the way through the preseason than basically hitting all of the landmarks as far as preseason.
I'm with you, and at least I don't know what he'll ultimately turn out to be, but no OBJ obviously for the first 4 weeks of the season for the Miami Dolphins. No Bradley Chubb either, for that matter. Would have been nice if Jalen Phillips had taken a little longer to recuperate.
And he thinks that he's going to be back full speed, but I mean, I've never seen a guy come back from an Achilles full speed out of the gate. So I know that he has a high expectation to be the best,
better than ever. Yes,
but the reality is it just doesn't happen.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.